I'm Apollonia, and this is Script Writing Tips.
Welcome to another episode of the Screenwriting Techniques series by Script Writing Tips.
Today we will talk about how to create our main characters. In this episode, we'll begin with the very basics. I will tell you what are the key questions in order to properly build the main character in your film. In other words, I will list which questions you need to answer. Make sure to like and subscribe this video. Stories have different kinds of characters. Every story has a main character called the hero or protagonist. I know many people will expect questions such as, what is the gender, age, or nationality of your character? What's his or her occupation? Or even what are her physical characteristics? But no, I'm not going to give you this kind of questions. Although I'm not saying that these details are not important, what I'm saying is that they're not the essence of your main character. They are details. The questions I'm going to list in this episode will help you create a meaningful protagonist, and by answering them, you will find out your basic plot. Before we start with the questions, it is important to stress here that the main character during the film will have two simultaneous journeys: an external journey, which is connected with the plot, and an internal journey, which is connected with her inner world, perceptions, and feelings. The internal journey is what we often call the character's arc. Right now, what you need to keep in mind is that those two journeys, the external and the internal, are not separated, but they are closely intertwined. It is said, after all, the character and plot are inseparable because a person is his or her actions. Now, let's see what these questions are, starting with the most important one. Who is going to be my protagonist? Have you decided who your protagonist will be? Which heroes the story are you interested in telling? To whom are we focusing on? Do you think that we randomly choose the protagonist? That we choose the one that we find most interesting? Well, yes and no. Yes, we can choose the character that we find most appealing, but no, we do not choose it at random. I will explain in detail in the next video how we choose the protagonist and why. Let's get on with the questions. I'm going to try to mention where each question belongs, whether it be in the external or the internal journey of the hero, though the two journeys are not easily isolated. Question number 2. What is the want or the goal of the central character in the story? Every protagonist in a film has a want or a goal, which must be something external, something tangible, or even something very clear. I want to win this award. I want to take this role. I want to save the world from a certain disaster. I want to get out of jail. I want to take the ring to Mordor to destroy it. All of these are specific external goals. Question number 3. What is the deepest need of the central character in the story? A need is internal. It is related to the inner world of the hero, to his inner journey. In most films, the hero does not know his need and discovers it gradually. In many cases, the need is opposite to the hero's want or goal. So, the hero's goal might be to frighten as many kids as he can, to be the best scarer. But his need is to become a father figure. Or the hero might wish to be left alone, but his need is to be with his family. The hero's want might be to get away, to go as far away as he can, but his need is to stay and learn how to build relationships with other people. In some cases, the hero may know her need from the beginning of her journey and thus be somewhat connected to what she wants. but she does not know how to achieve it, and she is very afraid. Question number 4. What are the obstacles that the main character of the film encounters? The obstacles can be both a situation and/or someone competing with the protagonist. The main obstacle is usually what makes it more difficult for the hero to achieve his or her goal. Another way to find the obstacle is to ask, against whom is the protagonist fighting? Many times the obstacle is expressed through a character that we call the antagonist. When you're trying to find obstacles, try to think of them as something external to the main character. Avoid answers like the main obstacle is herself. Avoid these answers because this is almost always the case. The main character almost always will be an obstacle to herself. But when answering this question, I need you to think of an external obstacle, of a situation, or of another character. Let's see some examples. In Home Alone, Kevin wants to stay alone without family, but the wet bandits are the obstacle to his want. In Titanic, Rose's obstacle is Carl, who wants to marry her, and her mother, who is forcing her to this marriage. In Karate Kid, the main obstacles are the Cobra Kai students, and Daniel's particular antagonist is Johnny. Now, remember what we've said, that the character goes through an inner change? There are 3 main categories of character arcs: the positive change arc, the negative change arc, and the flat arc, but we will analyze them in another episode. What we need to keep today about character arcs is this. At the beginning of the journey, each character can believe either a truth or a lie. So let's add lie and truth to our list of questions. Question number 5. Does our hero believe in a lie at the beginning of the movie? If so, what is this lie? And what is the opposing truth that our hero will realize near the end of the story? You may answer yes or no depending on which character change arc you'll choose for your protagonist, positive or negative. Whatever your answer, you should work with opposites. If you want by the end of the movie your protagonist to realize, for example, that he is happier by building relationships with other people, then at the beginning of the film, your protagonist should believe that he is better off without people or friends. He should try distancing himself from others. Which brings us to the hero's wound or the hero's ghost. Question number 6. What is the wound that our hero carries from the past? This question is about the inner journey of the protagonist, but it is not mandatory. Not always, but many times, the hero has some fear, some kind of a ghost, or some wound from the past that makes her or him afraid of something specific. This one makes it very difficult for the protagonist to deal with because it still hurts. In The Negative Trait Thesaurus, Angela Ackerman and Becca Puglisi explain that wounds are often kept secret from others because embedded within them is the lie and untruth that the character believes about himself. For example, if a man believes he is unworthy of love, the lie, because he was unable to stop his fiancée from being shot during a robbery, the wound, he may adopt attitudes, habits, and negative traits that make him undesirable to other women. So if in the beginning of the film our protagonist believes in the lie that he can succeed on his own without other people's help, then maybe we, the screenwriter, need to explain why he believes that in the first place. Something must have happened in his past that made him feel that way. Perhaps he was betrayed by other people, and that made him feel that he has to do everything alone, that he cannot count on others. Or maybe his parents taught him that if he gets help from others, he is weak, so he believes that by doing everything alone, he proves that he is strong. Not in every film there is an old wound of the protagonist. It's up to you to decide whether your story needs it or not. Question number 7. What is the main action that the hero does in the film? Clearly, the protagonist does a lot of actions throughout the film to achieve his or her goal. But one of them is the most important. It stands out, and that's why we call it a basic action. So the question is, what does the hero do that slowly changes him? Is he taking revenge? Is he getting trained? He dances. Questions number 8 and 9. What are the protagonist's strengths or skills? And what are the protagonist's weaknesses and flaws? Here you can list all the skills and all the weaknesses of the hero, but don't choose them randomly. Think of all the skills that your main character will use along the way and write those, but mainly write the one skill that she or he will have to use in the end to win the antagonist. Of course, a character cannot be perfect. Like all people, he must have flaws. Again, we do not put random weaknesses here, depending on what kind of obstacles our character will encounter in the course of the story. We give him those particular weaknesses that will make it more difficult for our hero. Last but not least, at the beginning of this video, we've said that a person is his actions. But before acting, we make decisions. Our protagonist should make decisions and then act. And that's 80% of the plot. However, how do you know what kind of decisions will your hero make? What kind of choices? That's why here we add one more question. Question number 10. What are the core values of our protagonist? Every person has some core values. Core values are the fundamental beliefs of a person. These guiding principles dictate behavior and can help people understand the difference between right and wrong. Some examples of values are health, justice, freedom, wealth, knowledge, achievement, courage, creativity, determination, friendship, etc. However, each person lists his or her values in a different order and priority. So for some, freedom is more important than health, while others consider wealth more important than knowledge or justice, and so on. It is important to clarify what values your hero prioritizes, and then you will know at any given time what your protagonist chooses and why. I was hoping to keep it to just 10 questions, but I'll add one more because it is very important never to forget that while you're writing. Question number 11. What is the dramatic question that the film raises at the beginning of the story? The central dramatic question is the question that is asked at the beginning of the story, definitely somewhere in the first act. And thanks to this question, the viewers are hooked to watch the film till the end, because they want to see how it will be answered. Why do I add this question here in character building? Because this question usually concerns the protagonist. When creating your protagonist, you should never forget what is her goal and why the viewer will stay with her to watch the entire journey. Let's recap the questions. Who is going to be my protagonist? What is the want or the goal of the central character in the story? What is the deepest need of the central character in the story? What are the obstacles that the main character of the film encounters? Does our hero believe in a lie at the beginning of the movie? If so, what is this lie? And what is the opposing truth that our hero will realize near the end of the story? What is the wound that our hero carries from the past? What is the main action that the hero does in the film? What are the protagonist's strengths or skills? What are the protagonist's weaknesses and flaws? What are the core values of our protagonist? And what is the dramatic question that the film raises at the beginning of the story? In the next video, I'm going to explain what is the most appropriate way to find the answers. Certainly, it is not by chance. Well, this video has gotten pretty lengthy, so I'll let you with this information for now to sink in. Thank you for watching. This is Apollonia and Script Writing Tips.